So we'll get you an update on the toss in a bit. But first, let's go live across to Boria Majumdar, who's outside the MCG. Boria, considering the huge turnout of Indian fans in the game against Pakistan, helped India, boosted their chances in a big way. Do you think this huge turnout of fans that I can see behind you will further help boost India's plans, their strategies and everything else, and their morale, of course, against a much superior side like South Africa?
No doubt, Himanshu, no doubt. I mean, 75,000 fans away from home, shouting for you, screaming for you, encouraging you, inspiring you, motivating you, is quite incredible. I mean, this is what makes Indian cricket Indian cricket. These people have travelled from all parts of the world, from Middle East, from America, from India, from Europe. Obviously, there is an injection of new verve into the team if you see that kind of support in the MCG. You were telling me something. I mean, you guys have come in from all parts of the world. Do you think India has a good chance because of this kind of support?
Oh, yes. India-Pakistan match was an emotional match. This is a match of skill. And we're going to show them what skill is all about. Cricket is in our blood, and we know what cricket skill means.
Cricket is in our blood. That's exactly what the sentiment is for all of these Indians. Let me actually ask Andrew a question. He's played with a lot of accomplishment in this stadium behind me. Has Andrew ever seen a non-Australia game be a sellout at the MCG? 85,000 people, 75,000 Indians. Is this a first for him as well?
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, I've never seen that many sort of foreign people in the MCG. I mean, this is a very special tournament, but it's a credit to the Indian people to see how many people have travelled, a very long way to go and support their team. So it'll be quite fascinating to see the Indian colours inside the stadium once the game gets underway.
In fact, let me interrupt you, Boria. India has won the toss and they've decided to bat first. Your first reaction, given the conditions, the pitch and everything that you've seen?
Expected. India winning the toss. I said it in my show, in my earlier comment. It's a huge toss to win. India winning the toss, electing to bat first. They get a 300. South Africa will find it very, very difficult. Bowling under lights at the MCG will be easier. South Africa, a bit of a fragility post David Miller, JP Duminy. From 7 onwards, the tail is fairly long. This is a big toss to win for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. If you see this tournament, every team winning the toss, putting up a big score, and the other side has found it difficult. Take a comment from Andrew, but as far as I'm concerned, it is the perfect decision from Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Andrew, of course, you know the conditions better than anyone else, and you've also heard what Boria had to say. Do you agree with Dhoni's decision after winning the toss of batting first?
Absolutely, yeah. I've always been of the opinion in big games, if you win the toss, bat first. Unless the wicket's got some heap of grass on it, or something that's not going to allow it to play properly. But this surface here will be true. The ball will come onto the bat nicely. You've got the extra fielder inside the circle, that restriction. So if India can negate South Africa in the first 10 overs, not lose wickets, and then give themselves a platform to build and really attack South Africa in the last 15 with that little bit of weakness in their fifth bowler, they could really exploit their fifth bowler and post a big total.
Nikhil, you've of course heard about Dhoni's decision now. You've been a part of the team. You know how the Indians decide and play the games. Do you first of all agree with Dhoni's decision, and do you think this is probably India's best chance to beat South Africa?
Well, absolutely. Winning the toss, making the best use of that track. You get 300 or just over, or get close to 300, it'll make a big difference. And I don't know if Andrew will agree or not, but under the lights, if it gets a little cloudy, don't forget, India doesn't have express pacemen, but they've got guys who can work the ball in the air. And maybe under lights, that might be an added advantage. And as the ball tends to get a little older, you've got the 2 spinners coming in. So, Andrew, under lights, do you think a better idea?
Yeah, I think it's set up well for exactly that, what Nikhil said.
Right.
It'll allow India to play the best style of cricket with winning this toss. That'll balance their game out. They can actually plan now exactly how they're going to go about things with the bat and with the ball.
Right, I'll come back to you, Andrew, in a bit. Let me now ask Boria one more question. Boria, given Dhoni's decision, what do you think should Dhoni's strategy be now that he's won the toss and has decided to bat first?
I entirely agree with what Andrew was saying and Nikhil was saying. First 10 overs, don't give wickets. If you don't give wickets in that South African lineup, the 4th and 5th is a problem. You can definitely milk the bowling. Dale Steyn, Morne Morkel, Van on Philander, and then That's the problem for South Africa. If you don't lose Shikhar and Rohit, if Virat gets a bit of a platform, he'll hurt South Africa. So do not lose wickets in the first 8-10 overs. You set up a platform and then in the middle overs start milking, get close to 300. If you do that, South Africa will be under immense pressure. The C tag will come back to haunt them. 300 under the MCG under lights will be a huge, huge ask for the Proteas.
Right, Andrew, what according to you are the main strengths and weaknesses of the Indian and the South African teams?
Well, I think the Indian strength is obviously their batting. You know, Rohit's explosive. If Rohit gets going at the start, you know, he's got a couple of double hundreds in one-day international. So if he plays a long innings, he'll be just as damaging as a Kohli. And then that gives them a real platform to go from. South Africa's strength is obviously their fast bowling. They're going to be looking to strike early. Steyn will look to swing the ball. Morgan will look to get the ball to bounce. And these are the obvious factors for everyone. And now it comes down to how both teams are going to try and negate the way that each team's going to attack each other. Damage control, obviously, for India with against the new ball, and then obviously South Africa trying to crack into the middle order with the new ball and expose the Indian batting.
Nikhil, it's going to be a fascinating duel between Virat Kohli and Dale Steyn, but of course that's not the only duel we're only looking at. It's a big, fascinating match. Your perspective?
Well, I guess the important thing is, you know, the first 10, I wouldn't want to see that competition come into the game very early on, you know, with Dale Steyn and Virat Kohli. You know, if you just break down the 50 overs in these new sort of restrictions that have come in, first 10, if you have wickets in hand, even if you get 50 on board or 55, you know, those first 10 overs would get compensated in the last 10. If you have wickets in hand, you can easily get 90. So in 20 overs, you're getting close to about 140, 150 odd runs. And if you want to get to 300, you need to, you know, get 5 and over in those middle period of 30. So you need to be a little calculating enough, Himanshu, in the sense that you don't get too ahead of yourself. Because don't forget, if you start losing wickets, looking to always get to 300 very quickly, it might hurt you. With a side like Australia, you've got to be a little careful and you've got to plan your innings out. I guess that's the most important thing.
Right. Let me now once again talk to Borea Majumdar, who's right outside the MCG. Borea, of course, Sachin mentioned that running between the wickets and the opening partnership would be the key for India against South Africa. Do you agree with Sachin? To what extent, considering Dhoni has now decided to bat first? And are all these fans behind you now all charged up to walk right inside the stadium to watch India bat?
Oh man, they are. In fact, they were asking me what time the match will start. It's at about 20 minutes from now, 25 minutes. You know, Manish will find it difficult to show you, otherwise I would have asked him to. There are 2 entrances to the MCG, one from the Yara side, and that bridge is full of Indian fans. If Manish can show you, people streaming in, and the other side from the Hilton Hotel side, again, Indian fans, and it's all blue. Everybody's charged up. Coming to the Sachin answer, yes, you don't disagree with the master. The difference between Adelaide and MCG, Himanshu, is bigger ground. Running between the wickets will be the key. You cannot clear boundaries at will. Square boundaries in Adelaide were shorter. Here at the MCG, far bigger, 75 meters plus. So running between the wickets will definitely be the key. So there India, and even fielding, you know, that's inner circle, Ajinkya Rahane, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ravindra Jadeja, they will be the key for India to try and give them the 20-run cushion when the South Africans come out to bat and chase.
Right, Andrew, the South African team was a little flat against Zimbabwe. They lost their first few wickets quite quickly against the Zimbabweans, and Indians would of course be hoping for an encore this time.
Yeah, I mean, as Sean Pollock said earlier, it wasn't a big game for them, but this game here, you can feel it from the studio. There's a bit of a buzz, a big buzz there in Melbourne. And, you know, when you get a big crowd and you get a buzz like this, you're automatically, you engage in it, and it sort of gives you that inner burn inside. It makes you want to really get out there and have a good day. The Indian team are blessed by having this many people come to support them. It will feel nearly like a home ground advantage. The Indian crowd are very vocal, very noisy, so that'll be a big boost for the Indian side. By the same token, that noise from the opposition crowd can also give you a lift as an opposition. So South Africa will obviously be trying to resist and have a good start also.
And what do you make of Gary Kirsten's appointment as a consultant? Do you really think, considering now that they face India in a big game, Gary's appointment and his opinions and perspectives will come in handy?
Oh, I think so, yeah. I mean, South Africa are probably just desperate to have someone around the group that's had success in a World Cup, which he has through and with India in 2011. So he'll have small things that he can tell the players just to try and ease the nerves and just go through the day and through the tournament and not worry about the end result. Possibly, just bite off small pieces at a time and work your way towards the back end of the tournament.
Right, Boria, if you can hear me. Boria, if you can hear me, well, South Africa has the best record at MCG, even better than Australia. In fact, I've got some stats here with me. They've got 7 wins, 2 losses in the 9 matches that they've played, as compared to India, who've 8 wins, 10 losses in the 18 matches that they've played. So clearly, South Africans are definitely the overwhelming favourites as far as statistics and past records are concerned.
Yes, but when World Cup pressure, high pressure, all of these factors come in, statistics go out of the window. Fact of the matter is, can South Africans hold nerve? This is a big game. The pressure is on them. They are a better side. They're expected to do better. Yes, the fast bowling is brilliant. India has not had the best record at the G. All said and done, if India bats well and sets it up, South Africa will find it hard. So yes, statistically it's South Africa, but reality, pragmatism and on-day performance, anything can happen in this game. Let me take a quick comment from one of the fans. You think South Africa favourites?
No, I mean, yes, on paper they would be favourites, but I think the Indian crowd is overwhelming here. Being born and brought up in Kolkata, I always thought Eden Gardens was electric. But man, coming in Australia, seeing Adelaide, seeing Melbourne, I really think we are going to kill them today.
We are going to kill them today. This fandom will matter, will 100% matter, because if there is a couple of percent, that will make a difference in a big game. The 75,000 Indian strong, support that we have here at the G will make a huge difference for Mahendra Singh Dhoni and team.
Back home in India.
All right, Boria, stay with me. I'll come back to you in a bit. Let's now go across to Harbhajan Singh. Harbhajan, what tactics, do you think tactics like sledging will work in a high-pressure game like this?
Well, I don't think you need to sledge on the field to get the match in your favor. All you need to do is just play well. Of course, play better than the other team to win the game. Sledging and all that, it's obviously, few people like to do that sort of things. And I've gone through a lot of time when people have told me things on the field and I've told them back, and but end of the day what matters is what you do with the bat and what you do with the ball. That's what matters on the field.
Right, well, Andrew, you've been in the field, you've also been involved in certain incidents as well in the past. Do you think sledging works to an extent?
Oh, it can do. If you use it smartly, it can help at times. You've obviously not got to let it boil over to the point where the umpires become involved and you can run yourself into strife. But you may find today that certain players may have a little chip at each other just to try and unsettle people. We'll see. But yeah, it is part of the game, definitely.
Nikhil, a lot of it would also depend on how the Indian batsmen, now that India is batting first, deal with Steyn and company. What do you think should their strategy be for dealing with the South African pacemen?
Well, I guess it's important, try and find the areas that you're looking to score off initially on. Like Andrew says, don't allow the quicker bowlers to settle down to any sort of rhythm. The more number of deliveries you play against Dale Steyn with the new ball, he might get even a spotter bowler. If you're rotating the strike, it gets easier. It unsettles them, because don't forget, you got a left and right combination right at the top as well. So make sure that you're getting the bowlers to change their line and length quick enough so that they don't settle, because if they settle, you're exposing the middle order to the new ball, and you don't want that.
Harbhajan, do you think Indian captain MS Dhoni should consider batting up the order, especially in this big game?
I think Dhoni need to see what are the over left, at what point of time he need to go in, because Raina is also another player who can score really fast, and Dhoni is of course one of that dangerous batsmen, who could score runs and boundaries, and he just need to see if we are going strong, we don't lose too many wickets up front, he can obviously promote himself and see what to do then. And of course then Raina can obviously play like Dhoni in the end, like what Dhoni do. He can also hit a lot of sixes, boundaries, and I would like Dhoni to see batting at least 15 to 20 overs. More he will bat, more he will create those chances for us to get those big runs on the board.
Well, Saurav, are you worried about Dhoni's batting form? He failed to score runs in the Tri-Series, and also against Pakistan, he failed to end the innings for India.
It's just the beginning, and I hope it gets back. We've been hearing that he's working very hard in the nets, and that's the right way to go. He's a class one-day player. He's a very good player in the shorter format of the game, and I'm sure he'll come good.
All right, so India is all set to take on South Africa in a short while from now, and let's go across to Boria Majumdar for one last time on the show before he walks inside the stadium. Boria, all charged up, expecting some real fireworks inside the stadium?
Absolutely, you know, everybody's sort of now making their way in. It's some atmosphere, and the weather is quite fantastic. I mean, prediction was for 36, 37 degrees, but it's come down. It's pleasant now. I mean, you know, everybody's sort of making their way in. What, 10 minutes to go? Ask some closing comments from Andrew and Nikhil, but as far as I'm concerned, there's one direction. Inside, enjoy this cracker of a contest.
All right, thanks a lot, Boria, for all your insights. So, Harbhajan, what are your predictions for the game? Who's going to be winning?
Well, my prediction is India is going to win. I'll be very happy and I'll be dancing here if India wins.
Closing remarks from you, gentlemen. Who do you think stands the best chance given the conditions and everything else? Andrew, you first. India or South Africa?
For me, I think South Africa might just pip India today. Their fast bowling early on will be the key. But I'm fascinated to see this whole game unwind. Hopefully it's a close contest and we have an enjoyable day's cricket.
Nikhil?
Well, I guess you handle the new ball. I'm not too worried about the score in the first 10 overs. As long as we've got wickets in hand, those first 10 overs will compensate in the last. So I'm not too worried. But the important key factor is, you know, I keep repeating myself, don't lose wickets against the new ball with South Africa. It will come back and hurt you if you do.
Andrew, what sort of a bowling lineup do you think India should really be going in with, considering the conditions and everything else?
Oh, look, I don't think that the Indians need to worry about the actual bowling attack. You know, first they've got to bat well, and then if they score 300 plus, then they've got to field and bowl well. You know, we haven't touched much on fielding, but in your 50 overs, if you take your chances, it really restricts South Africa. So, mate, I'm not too worried about the Indian attack. It's obviously not as strong as their batting, but whatever they get, they've got to go out there and fight and defend.
All right, that's all we have on this show. Gentlemen, you wanted to sign off in style?
Well, we've got a little competition, Andrew and me, so...
Yeah, it's 1-0, Nichols at 1, and I'm just going to have a little shot.
All right, go ahead.
There you go.
There you go.
1-all.
The 1-0.
Perfect.